Hello and welcome to University Arena Worcester. This is the Lord's Taverners National Junior Championships and this is the highlight show. My name's Stephen Jameson. I'll be guiding you through all the action over the course of this fabulous weekend. Without further ado, let's take a step inside, shall we? Come on! So here we are then inside this brilliant arena, and all the action, as you can see, is happening right behind me. So without further ado, let's take a look at what's coming up on the show. We've got all the action from a pulsating weekend of wheelchair basketball. Coming up are all the highlights from the under-19s and under-15s tournaments. At the end of both tournaments though, there can only be one national junior champion. Now I'm sure you'll agree that looks pretty exciting indeed. But if you are new to the sport of wheelchair basketball, or indeed new to the Lord's Taverners National Junior Championships, then fear not, we've got you covered with everything that you need to know. Let's take a look at this. Wheelchair basketball is similar to basketball in many ways. The court size and hoop height are identical, as is the scoring system. 2 points for a basket and 3 for a long shot beyond the 3-point line. The rules are largely similar too, although travelling works slightly differently in this sport. Players are only permitted to propel themselves forward in their chair twice without bouncing the ball. This sport is non-contact, although chair-to-chair contact is expected and allowed within reason. This sport is inclusive and caters for absolutely everyone, so a category system is in place to balance the teams. Players are classified according to their functional ability on a scale of 1 to 5, and teams may only have a set total on the court at any one time. For the Lord's Taverners National Junior Championships, there are two age groups, the under-19s and the under-15s. The main difference between the two is that the under-15s have a shorter hoop to shoot for. In both tournaments, the teams are split into two pools and will play each other in a round-robin format of 8-minute halves. The top 4 from each pool qualify for the quarter-finals. There are classification games alongside the knockout fixtures to determine every team's place in the competition. Ultimately though, there will be 2 champions crowned at the end of the weekend. So now you know everything there is to know about the sport and the tournament itself. I think it's high time that we get the action underway, don't you? We start the highlights with the under-19s tournament, and this is Pool A. We kick off the roundup with the North East, who despite some spirited performances couldn't quite muster a win in the pool stage despite several close games like this one against the South East. The team in black ended up finishing Pool A in 6th place. Next up is the Southwest side, who in truth didn't fare too much better. Despite picking up a narrow victory against the Northeast, the Southwesterners' Saturday was summed up in a clip here, as they just weren't getting the drops to get on the board consistently. They finished in 5th position. Next up is Northern Ireland, who enjoyed a mixed Saturday. They started with 3 defeats, but recovered really strongly to win their final 2 games of the day, against the Northeast and here against the Southwest. The Green Machine has snatched 4th, and they advanced to the quarterfinals. East Midlands meanwhile fared slightly better, winning 3 of their 5 games, and 3 wins was enough to secure 3rd for the Reds. The South East were rocking the dark green colours this weekend, but are seen here in their changed colour of white as they claimed one of their 4 wins of the Saturday over the North East. A combination of clinical finishing, eventually, and silky approach play meant the South East were looking strong, and they finished 2nd, coasting through to the quarters. And finally the Northwest, who were the standout team of the round in the under-19s competition, as they went through the entirety of Saturday with a 100% record intact and without looking too troubled either. Led by number 12 Greg Warburton, the Northwest were the team to watch as they topped Pool A. So that was Pool A in the under-19s competition, and now we turn our attention to Pool B. We start Pool B's roundup with Scotland, and if ever you wanted a clip to tell you if your luck's in, well, this was it, and Scotland's wasn't. That shot seemed to tell a story for the Scots, who weren't converting enough shots to points, and in this game, you're going to be punished. The Scots finished Saturday in 6th. Next up in Pool B is London, who despite beating Scotland were narrowly edged out in the other games, but when you have a player like James Palmer putting up 3-pointers like this on the regular, you stay in games right till the very end. Despite Palmer's efforts, London didn't quite have enough to make it beyond 5th place. The Welsh teams were some of the best supported over the course of the weekend, but cheering can only get you so far. It's the stuff on the court that matters most, and a narrow win over London as well as a big win over Scotland ensured the Welsh fans will be back for the quarters. as Wales finish 4th. Next up is Team East, who enjoyed a solid Saturday themselves. It started badly though with 2 defeats, but East were able to turn it around and win their final 3 fixtures of the day to end up in 3rd place, with their attacking play being rewarded with a spot in the quarter-finals. Yorkshire are up next, and the White Rose enjoyed an excellent Saturday, beating Scotland, London, Wales and Team East. They just came up short against the eventual group winners, but all things said and done, Yorkshire were happy with their day's work. They finished Pool B as runners-up. The West Midlands, like North West and the other pool, enjoyed a flawless Saturday. The team in orange had plenty of tournament experience, with the likes of Britain's Charlotte Moore and Siobhan Fitzpatrick fresh from winning the Women's Under-25 World Championships in China. The Midlanders coast through to the quarters, top of the group. So the under-19s, they're completing their Saturday, and we'll find out how they're going on the Sunday in a little while. But before that, it's time to look at the under-15s competition. And as ever, we start with Pool A. We kick off the action with the South East, who struggled for most of Saturday despite some close games. They did manage to pick up the 1 win in this spirited performance against East Midlands, which the coaches were clearly overjoyed with. South East then finishing in 6th. East Midlands are up next, and they also didn't fare too well in the pool stages. Just like South East, they picked up just the 1 win despite some close scorelines. That 1 win, however, came in this narrow victory against Yorkshire, thanks to this fantastic shot, which Yorkshire could do nothing about. East Midlands finished 5th. Carrying on with Pool A, we have North East, who started the day off slowly, losing their first 2 games. They did manage to recover, winning 2 out of the 3 remainders. South East were unfortunate to be on the wrong side of this fantastic display by the North East, and victory in the last game helped them secure a quarter-final place in 4th. Yorkshire also struggled early on, losing their first game to a dominant North West side, but victory in their second and third games against North East and South East respectively put the Yorkshire side in a strong position for the remaining 2. Despite losing their final games, Yorkshire had already done enough to finish 3rd on the day. Up next is London, who put in some brilliant performances on the Saturday, winning 4 out of the 5 matches they had to play, just falling short to North West as they finished Saturday as runners-up. Nobody then could stop a dominant North West side as they won 5 out of 5 games on the Saturday, winning rather comfortably each time. On 3 occasions they managed to score more than 30 points, showing the attacking power they had. London were on the end of a fantastic display this time, as North West proved to be too much for the Londoners, and they topped the table in Pool A. So that finishes up Pool A in the under-15s competition. Now let's move our attention on to Pool B, featuring those guys. We start with South West, who struggled in the pool games, losing all 4, despite this close contest against Scotland, which could have gone either way. In the end, the South West ended up in 5th place. West Midlands also had a tough day, which saw them lose their first 3 games. A place in the quarter-finals was still up for grabs though going into the final game against South West. A spirited performance meant they stormed to victory, claiming a priceless win. The West Midlands qualified for Sunday's quarter-finals, finishing the day in 4th. Despite losing their first 2 games, the Welsh fans had plenty of reasons to show off their flags. Wales put their poor start behind them, and after 2 closely fought matches, they went on to win both of their final games against West Midlands and South West, ending the day in 3rd place. Scotland started Pool B with a crushing defeat against Northern Ireland, but they didn't let that get them down as the Scots went on to win their remaining 3 games. This basket against South West put them in a commanding position going into Sunday, as Scotland finished Pool B as runners-up. Finally, rounding off Saturday's action, we have Northern Ireland, who ran riot on the Saturday, winning all 4 games quite comfortably. None of the teams they played managed to get into double figures on the scoreboard, which showed their dominance. This brilliant individual effort against South West, an indication of their collective talents, as they surged into the quarter-finals, finishing 1st in Pool B. So we've come to the end of Saturday's action. That's the end of the pool stage of the competition. Now we're through to the knockout rounds. Let's take a look at the action, shall we? Up next is South West versus Scotland. With both teams still trying to finish as high as possible, the competition was still fierce. Scotland took the initiative with this free throw, and then a tricky bit of play leading up to a basket gave South West a glimmer of hope, with time still left on the clock. But Scotland managed to hold on, securing a 23-15 victory. London took on North East in a fixture that proved to be very much one-sided, with London showing their quality early on with this basket. London kept the pressure up on the North East, but were unable to extend their lead even further, with North East defending well. The North East were able to add to the scoreline with this good individual bit of play, but it didn't matter in the end as London won 21-9. South West and North East both looked to put their previous game behind them as they faced off in the 11th-12th place playoff. South West dominated early on with this fantastic cross-court pass, but unable to capitalise. North West then posed a threat, but they were also unable to convert themselves, this time from a free throw. South West eventually won comfortably 19-7 and secured 11th place. Scotland and London faced off in the 9th-10th place playoff, with London starting off the stronger of the two teams, despite this missed chance early on. Scotland proved to be resilient, keeping the scoreline down and putting themselves in with a chance of finishing 9th, but it was London who just managed to edge them out in the end, beating them 18-12. The first quarter-final got underway in the under-19 section with a great start by North West, taking an early lead, which cemented their dominance early on in the match. Wales fought back though with this fantastic basket as they tried to find a way back into the game. It wasn't enough though, as North West were just too powerful and went on to extend their lead and secure a place in the semi-finals, winning 24-12. West Midlands took on Northern Ireland in the next quarter-final, and the Midlanders looked in good form from the start as Northern Ireland struggled to cope with their attacking power. West Midlands kept their momentum up throughout the game as they managed to extend their lead even further. Northern Ireland got a few points back, but this basket off the backboard only proved to be a consolation as West Midlands ran out winners 30-15. South East versus East proved to be a tighter quarter-final than the previous two, and South East started the better with this basket that eventually found its way in off the rim. East struck back though as a clever pass found a free man who had the easy task of converting for two, but a moment of brilliance separated the teams as the East players could only look on and watch at this one when South East edged it 25-18. The last quarter-final proved to be another tight affair. Yorkshire took the initiative despite missing this free throw early on in the game. One of the baskets of the quarter-finals was this magnificent individual bit of play by East Midlands, bursting down the right-hand side, and eventually the ball found its way in. It wasn't quite enough though, as Yorkshire just managed to hold out for a 2018 victory. Up next was the games to decide who'd finish in 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th places, and we start off with Wales versus East Midlands. East Midlands got off to the better start with this brilliant individual effort. Wales managed to take the lead however, with this great team move leading to a good score. Wales looked to extend their lead but were unable to take their chances right at the end, but it didn't matter as Wales won 18-14. In the parallel game to that one, Northern Ireland were well beaten by the East, but into the 7th, 8th place playoff we went, and they got off to a lively start with East Midlands starting the stronger. Northern Ireland were unable to capitalise on their chances when they came to them, just missing out on the basket there. East Midlands held on in the end, claiming a respectable 7th place, winning it 26-16. And on to the 5th, 6th place playoff we go then, between Wales and East, and this team move was too good by Wales for East, which led to an early basket for the Welsh outfit. East took their chances as well when they had the opportunities, like with this brilliant free throw. Despite missing easy chances like this one, Wales did indeed have the last laugh as they claimed 5th place, edging East into 6th, 22-15. Moving on to the semi-finals, an inspired performance by Greg Warburton in the first semi-final between North West and Yorkshire proved to be the difference in this game as he turned provider for this basket. Yorkshire showed fight however with this three-pointer to put them back in with a shout, but it was Warburton who sealed a place in the final, making no mistake from the three-throw line as North West win 24-16. The last remaining place in the final was up for grabs between the West Midlands and South East, and West Midlands needed not one but 2 attempts to put themselves on the front foot. South East responded well however with some tricky manoeuvring, and they were able to get the shot away for a basket back. It wasn't quite enough though, as West Midlands secured their final spot with a 25-14 victory. There was still plenty to play for between Yorkshire and South East as they faced each other in the 3rd place playoff. Yorkshire dominated early on but couldn't quite take their chances, squandering these 3 opportunities. South East made them pay with this basket off the backboard to get them back in the game, but with South East still chasing the game, Yorkshire caught them off guard to seal the victory and 3rd place, winning 24-17.
So then the one you've all been waiting for, it's just got underway behind me. What I say we take a look at the action between the West Midlands and the North West in the under-19s final.
The long-awaited final between North West and West Midlands in the under-19 section got underway, and it was to be a thriller. West Midlands settled the better, scoring this basket early on. West Midlands looked to extend their lead as they kept the pressure up on North West, but they found it tough to break through with North West defending really well. North West knew they had to do something to get back into the final and were beginning to become a threat. However, West Midlands defended well on this occasion. Finally though, Northwest found the breakthrough and tied the game. Some good hold-up play by Northwest enabled them to find the right man in the right place at the right time, who was able to score to tie the game. The two teams couldn't be separated in normal time, which meant overtime was needed, with the score deadlocked at 24-24, with both teams still in with a chance of winning it. A mistake by West Midlands meant that Northwest took the initiative in overtime. As West Midlands were left vulnerable at the back, Northwest were able to score with the basket with ease. West Midlands were left with a tough task of trying to regain the lead in overtime, with Northwest defending well. However, they were unable to get the ball away as the rebounds kept falling to West Midlands, and eventually Northwest were punished. Northwest were handed the perfect opportunity to score from the free throw line, but they missed both and were unable to benefit from the rebounds. Northwest continued to push again to find an equaliser and had the chance to level the score up, but West Midlands managed to get the rebound and left a player up at the other end of the court who had the chance to put the final to bed, but was just unable to capitalise. West Midlands defended well throughout overtime, and it proved enough to seal the victory and claim the Under-19s trophy, winning 28-26, with the players and fans clearly overjoyed.
Alright then, so Shiv, you are the champion, the West Midlands have done it. How does it feel?
Yeah, great feeling. We won all our 4 games, we were feeling really confident. Going into the final a bit apprehensive because North have won it 5 years running, so we knew that we'd have a tough game. And then the first half we were winning really well. We then got down by 2, I then scored a basket to bring it back level. And then we kind of lost our head a bit, called a timeout and managed to get a 2-point lead and win the regional championships.
A great feat as well. And for you personally, it's been a great year for you. You've just come back from the World Championships as well. Talk to us about that. What an amazing win that was for you guys.
Amazing. Well, first for me to get selected was an amazing feeling, and then to fly to the other side of the world and come back as a World Championship was amazing. We won all our pool games, went through, and then knew that the gold was our only option. It was actually the worst we've probably played in the final, when we were feeling, good the way that we played, but the result was what we wanted. And now we're the World Championship.
I was going to say, you've got the gold medal around your neck. I'm sure you don't mind too much about the performance. And just speaking a little bit about the Lord's Taverners as well, they do such great work for the sport, and it seems to be growing year upon year.
Yeah, definitely. Without the Lord Taverners, these events couldn't run. I wouldn't have careered, I wouldn't have been on the GB programme without the Lord Taverners regionals. So, yeah, big thank you to them.
And congratulations once again, Shiv.
Thank you.
Okay, so Greg, second place overall for the Northwest. What a fantastic weekend for you.
Yeah, it was a really good weekend. It's amazing to see the wheelchair basketball community just growing. Like every year I come, when I first started, it was nowhere near at the scale it is now, and it's just a fantastic event for the younger people moving up to people like me in my last year. It's still a great event to be part of.
Yeah, you yourself, you played in the senior nationals and then dropping back down to play in the juniors. Is that a weird experience for you, or are you pretty used to it by now?
Yeah, it's slightly is a weird experience. It's definitely a different level, but nothing compares to this on the scale of like having fun and just promoting competition among young people. It's just a fantastic event for everyone.
And the men's player of the year as well, that's some accolade.
Yeah, it's very good to get it. I got it last year as well, so it's looking like it's been a good couple of years in terms of that. Just shame I couldn't swap it for that gold medal.
And speaking of the Lord's Taverners, they do great work in this sport. A word for them as well. They put on a great competition and really support it really well. Yeah,
they're fantastic with what they do, and none of this would be possible without them. And the amount of support they give us, funding and like turning up every year, speaking, they give us so much, and it's they're mainly what makes this such a great event.
Well, thanks for speaking to us, Greg.
Thank you very much.
So what a game that was. Excitement right till the very end. But in the end, it was the West Midlands who took the crown in the Under-19s division. And now, without further ado, we head on into the Under-15s and their knockout stages.
And the Under-15s knockout stage would start with a round robin to decide 9th, 10th and 11th, starting with East Midlands and South West. Southwest started the better of the two teams with this brilliant three-pointer to put them in charge, but it was East Midlands who fought to victory, with first with this basket going straight in, and then a clever pass to find another teammate as she scores with a one-handed throw. East Midlands winning 21-12. Southwest looked to improve on their last match as they took on South East, but again it proved to be a tough task as South East started the game brightly. Southwest managed to get a few points on the scoreboard, but couldn't make the most of their chances when it came to them. South East ended up winning comfortably with a score of 26-11.
So South East and East Midlands essentially had a 9th place playoff in their next match. Another tight game, but it was South East who struck first with a basket off the backboard. East Midlands came back into the game, picking up the rebound and scoring on the second attempt. South East wrapped things up though with a pass on to an incoming teammate who made no mistake. South East securing 9th place, 17-14. The quarter-final in the under-15 section got underway between North West and the West Midlands, and it was the North West who started the better as they caught West Midlands napping with this basket. And they repeated the trick moments later as North West continued to punish them on the break. And it happened once more as they sealed their place in the semi-finals, winning 32-6. The next quarter-final was a much closer affair between Scotland and Yorkshire started well as they were able to find a way through Scotland's defence with this one. Yorkshire then added another basket to give themselves the initiative in the tie, but Scotland continued to try and find a way through as they searched for a winner, but it wasn't to be as Yorkshire's defence proved to be too strong, as they won, very close, 19-17. London and Wales faced off in the next match as they both searched for a semi-final spot. Wales created more early on with this clever pass giving them an easy basket to take the lead. London gave themselves every opportunity to get back into the game. This brilliant three-pointer put them back in with a chance, but it was Wales who proved to be too strong for London as they won 15-6. The last quarter-final saw Northern Ireland and North East face off, and the game started one-sided as Northern Ireland showed their attacking prowess with an early basket. Northern Ireland also proved to be resilient at the back as well as they fended off any hope of North East getting back into the match, and they wrapped up a comfortable victory with this free throw, winning 33-7. The games to decide 5th and 8th place started very tight. West Midlands just edged out Scotland while the North East couldn't quite come back in time against London. So with that being said, it was Scotland and North East who battled it out for 7th and 8th place. It was North East though who got their tactics right in the end. Scotland looked for a basket late on which would have seen them win the game as they were just a point behind, but it was North East who held on in the last dying moments to claim 7th place, winning 12-11. 5th and 6th place then was up for grabs between the West Midlands and London created more of the chances early on, but needed 3 attempts to score this basket. And with London easing to victory, West Midlands tried to find a few more consolation points, but it wasn't to be. London secured 5th place with a winning score of 21-7. The first semi-final between North West and Yorkshire was won convincingly by the North West side 28-9, and it was another great battle in the other semi-final as Northern Ireland and Wales faced off, Northern Ireland capitalising on a loose ball early on and making no mistake in punishing Wales. Northern Ireland continued to press and extended their lead once again in the match as Wales desperately tried to find a way to get back into the game and were unlucky not to score with this effort. Northern Ireland went on to secure victory with a 33-7 win. It was Yorkshire and Wales then who were battling out for bronze in the loudest game of the weekend. Yorkshire started the better as the Wales defence could do nothing to prevent this score, but Wales battled on and gave themselves a great chance with this basket just finding its way in to the delight of the Welsh supporters. A free throw decided the match though as Yorkshire composed themselves to secure the bronze medal.
So then it is time for the final in the under-15s competition. Who's going to take it? Will it be Northern Ireland or will it be just behind me the North West team? We're about to find out.
North West and Northern Ireland faced off in the under-15s final then, and North West may have been forgiven for thinking luck was going against them as both free throws looked to be going in, but have both managed to somehow stay out. But if at first you don't succeed, try and try again as North West continue to push forward. They finally managed to find a way through and put themselves in control of the final, taking the lead. The way the final was heading, it looked as though Northern Ireland would have been left with too much to do as they were unable to cope with the attacking prowess of North West, who finally scored a basket after 3 attempts. Northern Ireland improved though and closed the gap on the North West to put themselves back in with a shout of winning the final with this clever pass matched by the finish. Northern Ireland was starting to find their rhythm and were unlucky not to score another basket with this effort, which just hit the outside of the rim off the backboard. North West reacted first on the rebound and broke away with Northern Ireland vulnerable at the back and were able to score comfortably without too much pressure from the defence. There only looked to be one winner since that moment, and North West extended their lead further with this free throw. In the end, it confirmed victory for North West, deservedly claiming the under-15 section trophy with a fantastic overall display, in the end winning 24-17.
Okay, so Sue, the under-15s champions, congratulations to the North West, and a really tense final as well, just getting over the line in the end.
It was. At half-time we thought we were up to it a bit, but we had Big Joel who came on, and So we had the height advantage then. And the rest of the players really worked well together.
Absolutely, and one thing that must have helped you was the support of the supporters on the end there. There were so many of them, and they were so loud.
It was. Well, when we knew that we were going to be on that court, I said, right, let's get everybody on the back wall so that everyone's together, so that you know that the communication's always coming one way. And that was fantastic, absolutely. But I made sure that the kids all supported them at the end of the game, because right through the competition, they've not stopped clapping for us, shouting for us.
Yeah, it's been a really nice atmosphere, hasn't it, the whole weekend? There's been so much support from parents and supporters alike.
A lot of the parents actually enjoy it as much, if not more, than the kids, because I think it's the first time for some of them that they've been at an event like this and seen so many people doing so well, and hoping, especially the young ones, seeing the older ones, thinking that could be my son, that could be my daughter at some point. That's what makes it.
And speaking of which, the Northwest under-19s team have done pretty well as well, finishing second. That must be a great, bonus for your entire region, how well you've done this weekend.
Absolutely amazing. I know that some of them were a bit disappointed that they didn't get the gold, but at the same time, both teams medalled, which you can't ask much more, and silver and gold, one weekend, fantastic.
Well, congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Well then, that will just about do it here in Worcester at the University Arena. What a wonderful weekend of wheelchair basketball once again. And as people start to leave behind me, it is time to say goodbye. Just one more mention for the winners today. Another huge congratulations to them. And make sure you check out britishwheelchairbasketball.co.uk for all the information you could ever need about the sport and the upcoming European Championships right here in Worcester. And also don't forget to check out the Lord's Taverners as well. They do such wonderful work within this sport, and their appreciation must be felt. From me though, it is goodbye, and we'll see you next time.